He thought she was bluffing. Just another black woman with attitude. But when she showed her badge, he smirked, laughed. 5 minutes later, he was in handcuffs, surrounded by the very agency he thought didn't apply to him. Because this wasn't a routine stop. It was a setup, and she wasn't just anyone. The cruiser's lights lit up behind her, blue and red slicing through the dark like an accusation. Dana Royce didn't speed, didn't swerve, just kept her hands on the wheel, jaw tight. Small town, 2-lane road, nothing but shuttered diners and closed gas stations on either side. She pulled over slowly, signal on, engine quiet. Through the side mirror, she saw him. Deputy Brad Larkin, mid-40s, thick arms, thicker ego. He walked like a man used to control, one hand resting heavy near his hip. Her window rolled down with a soft hum. "Evening, officer," she said calmly. "License and registration," he snapped, flashlight already in her face. No explanation. "No, ma'am, just assumption, straight out the gate." Dana kept her voice even. "Can I ask the reason for the stop?" He smirked. "You looked suspicious." That was it. Suspicious. No broken taillight, no traffic violation. Just her, black, alone, in a government-leased sedan on a road she had every right to be on. "I'm a federal agent," she said, reaching slowly into her inner coat pocket. "Here's my badge." He didn't even glance at it, just chuckled. "Cute." He tapped the badge with the tip of his flashlight. "Amazon sell those now." Dana held her ground. No raised voice, no sudden movements. "That's a real badge, deputy, and I'm on my way back from a federal operation. I'd like to avoid unnecessary conflict." But he was already stepping closer. "Conflict," he repeated, mock surprise dripping from his tone. "Lady, this isn't conflict. It's a compliance check." His hand shifted closer to his holster. Dana didn't blink. "You're escalating a lawful traffic stop without cause." He snorted. "I don't answer to fake IDs and fancy attitudes. Step out of the vehicle. Now." She looked him dead in the eye. Then calmly, she tapped her earpiece, twice. No one saw it, but they heard. Across the street, inside an unmarked van, 3 agents leaned forward. Voices crackled in their ears. Operation Greenlight was live. Back in the driver's seat, Dana unbuckled. No panic, no resistance, just a quiet exhale, like someone who had seen this moment before, because she had, and this time it was going to end differently. She stepped out, slow hands visible, posture steady. The night was still, the only sound the faint buzz of insects and the low hum of her car's engine. Dana Royce didn't move fast, didn't need to. Her presence said everything. Deputy Larkin stood rigid, one hand hovering above his holster, the other holding the flashlight like a weapon. "Don't try anything cute," he barked. "Keep your hands where I can see 'em." She obliged, palms forward. "Agent Dana Royce, FBI." Badge was shown. "You're escalating without cause." He let out a dry laugh, loud in the silence. "Lady, I've been on this force 20 years. I've seen better fakes in high school drama class." He took a step closer, then another, eyes narrowing, as if her composure was an insult. "You think slapping a prop badge and talking big makes you someone?" She didn't respond, just turned her head slightly, and spoke, clearly, calmly, into the small mic clipped near her collar. "Subject is escalating. Phase 1 confirmed. Proceed as planned." Larkin blinked. The hell was that? Dana looked back at him, expression unchanged. "You're not the only one with backup tonight." He scoffed. "You threatening me?" "No," she said. "I'm informing you." A few houses down, the quiet changed. Tires rolled slow against asphalt. Headlights stayed off. 1, 2, 3 unmarked SUVs slid into position, spaced evenly along the block. No sirens. No lights. Just movement in the dark. Larkin didn't see them. His attention was locked on the woman who, in his mind, didn't belong. Not here. Not dressed like that. Not this confident. "You're real bold for someone about to be detained," he said, stepping in, voice low. "I've dealt with your type before." "My type?" Dana asked, tilting her head. "You sure you want to finish that sentence?" His lip curled. "Yeah, smart mouth frauds. Thinking the rules don't apply." She exhaled through her nose. Controlled. "You have no idea who you're talking to." "Sure I do," he sneered. A liar in a pantsuit, who's about to have a real bad night. From her earpiece, units in place, stand by for confirmation. Dana didn't flinch, didn't look away. Last chance, deputy. Dana escalate. But Larkin only laughed again. You're not in charge here. That was the last sentence he'd get to finish uninterrupted, because 5 seconds later, flashlights cut through the dark from 3 directions. Federal agents emerged in silence, weapons drawn, not on Dana, but on him. Dana stood tall, hands still raised, the cruiser's spotlight washing her in stark white. Her silhouette cut clean against the dark, unflinching, composed. Last warning, Larkin shouted, hand fully on his gun now, finger twitching near the trigger. Down on your knees. Do it now. She didn't move, didn't flinch. Special Agent Dana Royce, she said again, voice low but firm. I'm telling you, deputy, you're making a mistake. I said down. His voice cracked this time, the tension creeping into his throat. He wasn't in control, not really, and he could feel it. Through her earpiece, a calm voice crackled. We're moving in. Dana didn't smile, didn't blink, just shifted her stance half an inch, like a chess piece, anticipating checkmate. Behind them, everything started to move. The first SUV rolled forward with barely a sound. Doors cracked open in unison, and shadows stepped out, vested, armed, moving fast and low. Another team emerged from the opposite end of the block, boots whispering against pavement. No sirens, no shouts, just precision. Larkin didn't see them. He was still focused on her, still yelling. You think you scare me? He barked, gun now fully drawn, and pointed at her chest. You think your fake badge is gonna get you out of this? She didn't move. You really think I'd stand here unarmed, unafraid, unless I was exactly who I said I was? From the left flank, a voice cut sharp through the dark. Deputy, drop your weapon, now. Larkin spun halfway, confused, gun still up. What the? Drop it, another agent barked. Federal agents, you are surrounded. Reality hit fast. Red laser dots painted across his chest and arms. More agents poured in from both sides, forming a clean semicircle around him. Tactical lights lit the street like floodlights on a stage. A dozen barrels aimed straight at the deputy, who had just pulled his weapon on a federal agent. His mouth opened, stammering something about misunderstanding, but it was too late. Dana didn't move. She didn't have to. She was the calm in the eye of the storm. One agent moved in fast from behind, cuffing Larkin before the man could think to resist. The gun was yanked from his hand. Cold steel snapped around his wrists. He froze, eyes wide, breath shaking, and still, Dana hadn't moved an inch. Only when he was fully restrained did she lower her hands and step forward. Special Agent Royce, one of the team leaders, said, nodding, you good? She nodded once. Phase 2 complete. Larkin looked up at her in disbelief. You set me up. She met his gaze, unblinking. No, she said softly. You set yourself up. I just made sure someone was watching. The cuffs locked tight around Larkin's wrists, his breath coming in sharp bursts as the reality set in. Flashlights danced across his face. Badges flashed. Guns stayed trained on him. Not her. What the hell is this? He barked, trying to twist in the agent's grip. You can't do this. I'm law enforcement. You were, an agent said flatly behind him, cinching the second cuff. Now you're a liability. 2 more agents stepped forward, showing credentials under the white beams. Department of Justice. FBI. Internal Affairs Task Force. No questions left. Dana stepped forward, calm as ever, her ID already in hand. Deputy Bradley Larkin, she said, her voice clipped and professional. You are under arrest for obstruction of justice, violation of civil rights under color of law, and active interference in an ongoing federal investigation. Larkin's mouth dropped open. Interference? What investigation? I was stopping a suspicious vehicle. Dana didn't blink. You stopped a federal agent in a government-issued vehicle, ignored her badge, escalated without cause, and drew your weapon while she was fully compliant. He shook his head wildly. That badge was fake. I didn't know. That's exactly the point. Dana cut in quiet but firm. You didn't care. The words hit harder than any shout. He looked around as agents moved with tight efficiency, collecting his sidearm, bagging his flashlight, reading him his rights. He strained against the cuffs, voice cracking now. "You set me up. This is entrapment." One of the agents chuckled. "You weren't set up. You were monitored. There's a difference." From the dark, another unmarked vehicle pulled up. The door opened, and a man in a grey DOJ windbreaker stepped out, clipboard in hand, badge around his neck. No rush in his step. No drama, just business. "Internal affairs," he said, approaching Larkin with a slow shake of his head. "Deputy, we've had a file on you for 6 months. Too many stops like this. Too many complaints that didn't go anywhere." "This is insane," Larkin muttered. "I've served this town 20 years, and you did damage in almost all of them," the man replied coldly. Dana didn't move, just watched. Her presence didn't gloat, it clarified. Larkin turned to her, frantic now. "You don't understand what this looks like. People like me." Dana raised a brow. "You mean uniformed officers, who profile citizens, who mock federal IDs, because the person holding them doesn't fit your idea of what authority looks like?" He faltered, nothing left to say. She stepped closer, her voice quiet enough that only he could hear it. "The badge you laughed at. It weighs a lot more than you thought." Then she turned, walked back to her car, as the agents loaded him into the black SUV. The street was quiet again. No sirens. No apology, just consequence. Back at the mobile command van, the monitors glowed with footage, body cams, dash cams, and thermal views from across the street. Every angle, every word, every second, recorded. Special Agent Dana Royce stood at the center of it all, calm as the playback looped. Subject escalated within 90 seconds. One tech said quietly, noting timestamps. "No probable cause cited. Immediate disregard for federal credentials." The lead investigator nodded. Exactly as expected. Because this wasn't just about one bad stop. This had been building for months. Deputy Bradley Larkin's name came up in too many citizen complaints. Mostly black drivers. Mostly late-night stops. Always the same pattern. Thin pretext, intimidation, and a report that said otherwise. The department buried the paperwork. IA took notes, but the DOJ needed proof, so they brought in someone who could give it to them. Dana volunteered. The profile was simple. Black woman, government sedan, out-of-state tags. No uniform, high chance of being dismissed, disrespected, or worse. The kind of target Larkin couldn't resist, and he didn't. She didn't wear a wire because she was afraid. She wore it because it was strategy. She didn't flash her badge hoping he'd believe her. She flashed it knowing he wouldn't. That was the test. The moment he laughed at it, the clock started ticking. From that second on, every move he made added weight to the file they were building against him. The gun, the shouting, the refusal to listen, all of it fed into a report far bigger than he realized. Because this sting wasn't just about him. It was about the department that kept him in uniform. About the leadership that looked the other way. About the patterns they claimed were coincidence. Until now, in the van, an agent clicked through screen captures. Dana with her hands raised. Larkin with his weapon drawn. The moment of arrest frozen mid-frame. His face caught between confusion and fear. "This'll go public by morning," someone said. "It's going to be a long week for Crestwood PD." Dana didn't say anything. She just watched the footage quietly. The plan had worked. The system had finally turned its lens on one of its own. Larkin thought power lived in the uniform, in the holster, in the right to command a citizen onto the pavement. But power had shifted. It now lived in truth, in evidence, in the calm voice of a woman who refused to flinch. She hadn't come to fight. She came to expose. And now, with everything documented, with every lie unraveling on tape, there was no stopping what came next. He had laughed at her badge, but by the time the cuffs locked around his wrists, everyone knew she was the real authority all along. The footage hit the news cycle by noon. First local, then national. Headlines lit up screens like wildfire. Deputy draws gun on black FBI agent, arrested minutes later. Body cam footage shows racial bias in Crestwood PD sting. Agent Royce reminds nation, this is about reckoning, not revenge. Clips ran on every major network. Dana's hands raised, her calm voice identifying herself. The deputy's smirk, The gun, the arrest. It was all there. No edits, no spin, just the truth, recorded and undeniable. And once people saw it, they couldn't look away. Protesters gathered outside the Crestwood precinct by nightfall, not angry mobs, witnesses, teachers, veterans, parents, holding signs, holding space, telling stories they'd carried for years but had no proof to share, until now. The mayor issued a formal statement. The police chief went quiet, and the department scrambled to do damage control that wouldn't hold. Then came the internal memos. Dozens of Larkin's stops were reopened, past complaints unsealed. Civil rights attorneys began reaching out to people whose cases had once gone ignored. His entire record, once protected by silence, was now evidence. And in the middle of it all, Dana Royce remained exactly as she'd been that night, calm, focused, unshaken. She appeared once at a press conference, requested by the DOJ. She stood at a podium in a charcoal suit, hair pulled back, eyes steady under the lights. No dramatics, no anger, just clarity. "This isn't about revenge," she said. "It's about accountability. It's about reckoning with the systems we let slide, and the power we too often trust without question." The room was silent. No one interrupted. No one dared. "When someone shows you who they are behind a badge," she continued, "believe them. And when they laugh at your truth, record it." She stepped away without taking questions. Back at headquarters the quiet was different. Her report was already half written by the time she sat down. She filled in the last few fields, added her digital signature, and clicked submit. No ceremony, no applause, just procedure. The sting had worked, the lie had been caught, and the tape, the one Larkin had never thought would turn on him, now lived in federal archives as evidence, not just against him, but as a blueprint for something bigger. Dana stood from her desk, slipped her badge back onto her belt, and walked toward the elevator. She didn't need headlines or praise. She didn't need the last word. She had the first one, and it was enough. If this story moved you, if it made you pause, clench your jaw, or whisper finally, under your breath, then don't stay silent. Share this story. Leave a comment. And most of all, subscribe to Black Roots for more stories where justice doesn't whisper, it roars. Let's keep the spotlight where it belongs.